Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Christ the royal master leads against the foe, forward into battle, see his banners go. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching as to war, with the cross of Jesus going on before. Oh, for a faith that will not shrink, though pressed by every foe, that will not tremble on the brink of any earthly woe, that will not murmur or complain beneath a chastening rod, but in the hour of grief or pain will lean upon its God. A faith that shines more bright and clear when tempests rage without, that when in danger knows no fear, in darkness feels no doubt. Lord, give us such a faith as this, and then whatever may come, we'll taste and hear the hallowed bliss of an eternal home. A charge to keep I have, a God to glorify, a never-dying soul to save, and fitted for the sky, to serve the present age, my calling to fulfill. Oh, may it all my powers engage to do my Master's will. Arm me with jealous care, as in thy sight to live, and O thy servant, Lord, prepare a strict account to give. Help me to watch and pray, and on thyself rely. Assured if I my trust betray, I shall forever die. Rise up, O men of God, have done with lesser things. Give heart and mind and soul and strength to serve the King of Kings. Rise up, O men of God, his kingdom tarries long. Bring in the day of brotherhood and end the night of wrong. Rise up, O men of God, the church for you doth wait. Her strength unequal to her task, rise up and make her great. Lift high the cross of Christ, tread where his feet have trod. As brothers of the Son of Man, rise up, O men of God. Let's edify.
Hello.
Good evening.
That was Ezra's line. Well, that's O'Shea's line.
Well, thanks for the rest of the shenanigans. Hello. I'm gonna be so tempted to walk over here, but you are over there.
I know they are, and it's really difficult because I'm looking over here as well. I could go this way.
Good evening.
Let's edify.
Thanks for the rest of the and shenanigans.
There we go. We got it right now.
He keyed in on the shenanigans part.
Who did?
Secret.
Oh. Well, you got that one right. Shenanigans. Well, there's been nothing but shenanigans this whole weekend, have we? I must say, it has been an absolute blast for the CEM staff to be together.
It has. And the night's still young.
That's scary. So much opportunity to be getting in trouble.
Oh, yeah.
You know, if I had something down, I guess I could have done that too.
How's our audio?
0. Oh, audio. I thought you said audience.
Your audio is good.
0.
Better than TJ.
I'm coming fine.
Your audio is good.
0. He's coming through fine.
Yep, good, cool.
Now, whether or not you come through fine, or it's another thing.
I can hear him.
You said that with such disappointment.
You betcha. I am tired.
Sure. We have O'Shea on the background, and we have Ezra on camera. And you didn't put the camera where you were supposed to on that tripod.
I didn't put it in.
Who did?
I think it was you.
No, I didn't. It was O'Shea.
You handed it to me and you said it needs to go on there. So I just slapped it on there.
I need to refill.
So have fun with that.
Okay.
See,
Hey, Sam. Good morning to you.
You're pretty lucky I didn't duct tape it on.
Look at that. He gets both of us together, and the third, and O'Shea is the disembodied voice over there.
I'm sure he'll say, well, before the night's over.
See, there he is.
I enjoy being a disembodied voice. Hey, CJ, I'm bigger than you.
Right now, you're bigger than me, too.
Yeah.
We established this.
What did you say?
I was supposed to be in the book of Acts.
Somewhere.
What was that, CJ?
I was supposed to be in the book of Acts or something.
What?
Oh, well, I probably should. Hey, Sarah, you should try and find a map of Paul's voyage. I forgot to do that.
Straw CJ.
Probably isn't going to happen much. Although, if he uses it, there's just not really much of a way to do it.
Okay.
Eastward might have one, but
In the past, I've Googled it, pulled it up, and shared it.
right there, shoot it.
But if Dad's on a laptop, he can do the same thing.
I could.
And give us another thing to share.
Do I get a drink, sir?
No, we're going to let you drown. CJ needs a drink, sweetie. He's thirsty and he's all dehydrated and deprived. His cup of coffee's on the table. In my cup.
Oh, puppy!
He's too young for coffee. It's going to stunt his growth.
Right. I mean, just look at that. He's half as tall as I am.
All right. You just fade into oblivion.
Denied. I just got you coffee, so.
What did
Sam is over there dying with laughter.
He's trying to think of one of his witty, poetic comebacks.
Suppose it'll work.
Maybe not.
Okay.
See, we have two dads.
Who was doing that?
Actually, I just put yours in the background for a minute.
Sam gives us a thumbs up.
I found CJ.
Where is everybody? Laura and Rita and all the others.
CJ, you scared him away with your God's answers.
I did.
How did that go?
Good.
Was Jim able to find a reasonable topic to discuss?
Yep. We talked about sowing the seed.
Kind of went along a little bit with the idea this morning, wasn't it?
Yeah.
From Dad's lesson.
Yeah.
You don't have to go back and watch that now.
I used
For a moment there, I thought you said sewing machine.
sowing the seed.
Okay, why is that not?
It's not super important.
But it's gonna bug him all night.
It is. Especially seeing as how it's supposed to be there. What happened to my, there it is, options.
Yeah,
Oh.
trouble sharing it, or
All of my PowerPoints are not on my Mac anymore. I'm getting an upgrade.
So where are the... I don't know. They're supposed to be here.
Man and his technology is the same.
That's true. Graphics. Ah, there we go. There's a reason why.
I think Shua got lost with my coffee.
Shua, grab that coffee mug off that table and bring it here.
Thank you, Shua.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Behave yourself.
Now behave, you said. Behave.
to you or her?
Yes.
You CJ yourself. Try that one. Don't behave. Be sure of yourself. And Sam, be Sam yourself. We don't want you to behave. We don't know who Have is, so we don't know if we like him when you be him or her. Rabbit.
Just mean you didn't see it, doesn't mean you have that.
I may need to have a charger. I don't know. Look at that classic Bible maps. You wanted a map.
Oh, brother. I cannot be CJ, man, so
Why not?
Sam says.
Well, I didn't ask him to. I asked him to be Sam himself.
Yeah, Sam himself.
Whoops.
That fish is
It
just going up
is
and
a
down.
rare occasion.
I know. Which kind?
Me and you in the same room.
Sitting here at a loss talking over to each other.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely, that's
It's going
not
up
kind
and
of a rare occasion. We do that all the
I
time.
know.
It's in person.
That's the difference. We're gonna have to make this a yearly thing.
I concur. I agree. What do you guys think? So let's be a yearly thing.
Yeah.
Every chili supper.
Yeah, about that. About that time.
Yeah. 2 days. Next year. It's like,
I'm already saying next year.
Yeah, he has been.
Mm,
That either means he's a real glutton for punishment or he's been enjoying himself.
I kind of am inviting myself next year. I guess if they don't invite me, I won't come. But I think it's been a pretty good guess if I do say so myself.
Just ask O'Shea about the way the camper is. I'm not sure about that.
Not very.
Ask O'Shea.
I went to the danger zone.
Yeah, that's gonna work
Don't
too.
even drag me into this.
You're already apart.
hmm
Drug in. Angie comes in and says,
Hi, Angie.
"Hi everyone," and CJ not hiding behind the scene. Yes, at some point tonight we'll be doing acts, but not right now. We are trying to pull up a map of Paul's journey, voyage to Rome.
I just have to finish this one download and then restart
Yeah,
eSword.
that's what we'll be in Acts 27. We only got 2 more chapters left.
I know, right?
It's only taken us, what, a year? We started in
2 years.
Oh, did we start January 21? I think we did.
I don't remember when we started, actually. I'll have to go back and look at that.
I was just thinking.
I can tell you it wasn't 28 weeks ago. It wasn't 28 weeks ago.
Right. That's 28 weeks ago.
I don't know, but it wasn't 28 weeks ago that we started this.
What was I'm still mulling over that coffee.
What else should I say?
there you go.
I always with his
Goats.
wave.
Been petting a goat.
CJ was having.
reviewing.
You can certainly start reviewing.
Alright.
CJ was having a
Go
hard
ahead,
time
okay.
impersonating me Saturday morning. He was trying to impersonate me on your Devo and do the hi y'all, and he's like, "How do you get to the goats and the wave?" It was
Alright.
identity theft is not his thing.
That's a good thing. We're safe from that from him.
If you remember in age 25, Paul
I don't.
If you remember in the United States, in age 25, Paul appeals to Caesar. And before Paul goes to Caesar, Festus wants to kind of get something to write about this man because he doesn't really have a witness report.
He didn't have anything to write home about.
And so I'm trying to make this so we're not doing this for 2 hours. Let's hit the gas pedal.
Evidently, Paul wasn't anything to write home about.
Oh, CJ, don't worry, I'm ending it.
Oh, well. Oh, dear. We got 40 minutes.
Yeah, what are you sitting here doing here blabbing all about it?
Oh, we just had a comment.
Oh,
I twitched out.
It was planned for weeks ago. No.
Sam's laughing.
This study was a long time ago. But in Act 25, Paul is appealing to Caesar and Festus as having trouble getting an accusation, and so he asks Agrippa and invites Agrippa and his wife Bernice in to investigate Paul. In Act 26, Paul giving his spiel to King Agrippa, and in that spiel he recounts his conversion story. And then when Paul gets done in verse 24, Festus thinks that he's gone crazy with knowledge. He's just learning new things, kind of like those in starts with an A. Help me out here. Not those in
Athens.
Thank you. Those in Athens who were just talking to see some new thing. And he says, look, much learning is driving you mad. And we noticed last week that Paul says he speaks the words of truth and the words of reason. And he says, look, I am convinced that none of this has happened in a vacuum. I know, but I know King Agrippa believes, and Agrippa does believe because he says, you almost persuaded me to be a Christian. And then Paul says, yeah, I want you to become a Christian. I want everybody to become a Christian except for the part of these James.
He didn't want those chains to be Christian.
Yeah. The chains were not going to be Christian. So verse 32, basically, after giving Paul this interview, Agrippa said to Festus, look, this man could have been let go if he had not appealed to Caesar.
O'Shea, you need to have East Sword up and be at 26 verse 31.
And 32.
Well, you were at 31. Well, okay, 31, 32. They were apart.
Agrippa said to Festus, this man might have been set free if he had not appealed to Caesar. And so, if Paul had not appealed to Caesar, he would have been set free, indicating that the arguments that he made sense, and the Jews didn't really have a foothold, really have anything substantive to their accusation. And then we see that he Well, let me see. Acts 27. I was gonna say something more about that, but yeah. Oh, the reason why Paul appealed to Caesar, we noticed last week, is because the Jews would have killed him if he went back to Jerusalem, because 40 men in Acts chapter 21 wasn't Levi.
I think so.
And Acts, if you then go all the way back in Acts chapter 21, we have those 40 men who swore an oath that they were going to kill Paul. So Paul, in this case, is actually avoiding death.
No, it was in
Acts 21 and 23.
23.
Yeah, Acts 23, 12. So that really takes us to chapter 27. And in chapter 27, we get to travel with Paul, I think.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and CJ and read down to verse 7 for you.
All right. And when it was decided that we should sail to Italy, they delivered Paul and some other prisoners to one named Julius, a centurion of the Augustan regiment. So entering the ship of uh, uh, uh,
Adramyttium.
Adramyttium, we put to sea, meaning to sail along the coast of Asia. Aristarchus of Macedonia of Thessalonica was with us, and the next day we landed at Sidon. And Julius treated Paul kindly and gave him liberty to go to his friends and receive care. When we had put to sea from there, we sailed under the shelter of Cyprus because the winds were contrary. And when we had sailed over the sea, which is off Cilicia and Pamphylia, we came to Myra, the city of Lycia. There the centurion found an Alexandrian ship sailing to Italy, and he put us on board. Is that 1 through 6 or 1 through 7?
7.
Sorry. When we had sailed slowly many days and arrived with difficulty off
Snitus.
Zenitis, the wind not permitting us to proceed, we sailed under the shelter of Samon, Samone, passing it with
No.
difficulty.
No, not 8.
Oh, sorry. Okay.
I guess you could.
Passing it with difficulty, we came to a place called Fairhaven, near the city of Lycia.
Let's see it.
It is dark over here.
Is it?
It is. Oh well.
You need bigger print. All right. So as we begin to go through this section, what we have is, since Paul had appealed to Caesar, he was not able to be set at liberty, as Agrippa and Festus had determined there at the end of the previous chapter. So, since he can't be set at liberty, he has to be sent upstream.
Camera's over there.
I know.
Oh.
I'm looking at the Bible over here.
Oh, sorry.
So he's being sent upstream. As it were, or across the sea to Italy. And so they give Paul and certain other prisoners into the hand of the Augustus band. Now, of course, Augustus being, again, a band that was devoted to Caesar, There were bands. Oh, you have certain groups of soldiers. Um, we have we have groups that are named, for example, the 56th Airborne or the 62nd Infantry, or things like that. These are men and women who are in our day and age. These are men and women who belong to certain groups within the military. Well, in the same manner, you had certain groups in the Roman um, military, in the Roman army. You have the Italian band, you have the Augustus band, and um, you have many different um, groups of soldiers, and depending upon how your legion, your group performed, well, that kind of depended upon how much of an honor it was to be in that group. And they gave these prisoners into the captain, the leader, the centurion of this regiment, this band, the Augustus band, and of course he's named by name Julius. What's really interesting is the fact that the Bible is so replete with specific details. For a long time, they didn't even believe, archaeologists didn't believe that David was actually a king until they were able to find a subscription that referenced Solomon, the son of David. Once they found that, of course, then there's irrefutable proof in the archaeological record that David was a king. In like manner, they wondered, they denied the accuracy of the Bible in regard to Jesus's records because they didn't believe about Pontius until they found archaeological record that elsewhere that Pontius Pilate had served in Jerusalem, in Judea. So, finding these particular details that are so specific in the biblical record does wonders, because we can tie these people to specific extra biblical, extra meaning outside of the Bible, records, and know for certain. It's just like one extra step of proof. We know for certain that the Bible is true. And so when you couple what we know and believe to be true with what is out there as science, as archaeology and history comes to light and adds this extra depth, all it does is reinforce our belief.
Yep.
And shows the amazing wonder, the amazing power of our God. So Paul was given into the hands of Julius, a centurion of the Augustus band, and he enters into that ship, the ship of Adramyttium. They launch, meaning to go by the coast of Asia. And they have in their midst Aristarchus of Macedonia with Thessalonica being with them. Why is that important? Well, it kind of explains why they're going by the coast of Asia. This passenger needs to be let off in Asia. You see, sailing ships, even though this was this Augustus band was transporting prisoners, this was not a prison ship. This was a ship that was carrying other passengers. And so, as O'Shea, you might want to scroll down. So what we see here in our, yes, I know it's pretty difficult, isn't it, Ezra? Is it too small or what?
On here it is. And
You might want to bring that up bigger than us. Thank you.
there you go.
As you see, here we go from Jerusalem, the red marking Paul's trip to Rome, the red line. We go up to Caesarea, which is where he has been imprisoned all this time. And he takes ship here in Caesarea.
Can you command and control plus that?
I dare not do too much more because otherwise, if I can, I can't on this particular one. I mean, I can get it. It's going to get really grainy.
Yeah.
You see how
Oh man, it's not bad actually.
it is on mine. Okay, let's see what we can find out. Hey, get back where you're supposed to be. There we go. So he is on this ship, and they're going to go. Aristarchus of Macedonia, or a Macedonian of Thessalonica. So they're headed from Caesarea, and they're going to go past the coast of Asia because of him. Now, what we see is the specific cities that they're talking about. So they leave out of harbor, and the next day they reach Sidon, and you see Sidon right up here. Can you see my mouse pretty good?
Yeah.
Okay, so they reach Sidon right up here. Remember, Jesus pronounced the woe against Tyre and Sidon. That's the Sidon that he pronounced the woe against. Now, Julius, they paused at Sidon, and Julius gives Paul the liberty to go ashore. I mean, remember, this is, again, a Roman prisoner. He's not a violent prisoner. He's not, has done nothing criminal. Shua, get out of there. Oh, okay. But I thought she was bugging O'Shea. Someone's been bugging O'Shea.
Probably it was, yeah.
So, Shua, you're fine. You can go back with Mom. Anyhow, so Julius gives Paul this, Paul a non-violent, flight risk prisoner. The courtesy, the free reign to go in and to be refreshed by his friends.
Verse 3 now.
Yes, verse 3. In case, and then O'Shea, you can keep switching back and forth between the Bible and the map as we go through here. So in verse 4, what we see is they leave from Sidon and they sail under Cyprus. So that means, of course, as you look at the map, you can kind of see how they would be sailing under Cyprus. They're not going. They're not going to go far out into the sea to bypass it. Rather, here they're sailing under this arm of Cyprus past Salamis, and coming around because the winds are contrary. So instead of going up and around this direction, the winds are contrary, so they're going to sail this direction. They're going to follow the winds.
Probably because Cyprus would kind of cover some of that wind, right?
Well,
The idea of passing under Cyprus.
Well, passing under Cyprus, if the winds are contrary, instead of blowing to the west, they're blowing to the east. If they're wanting to go west, well, they can't because the wind's not going to fulfill their sails. So they have to go with the wind. Otherwise, they're going to be rowing for too long.
Yeah.
So rather than do that, they're going to take the wind and follow the wind. And so, contrary wind, they're going to quarter the wind and go around. So in verse 5, they sail over the sea of Cilicia and Pamphylia, and they come to Myra, a city of Lycia. Now, remember, Pamphylia is where John Mark first left Paul and Barnabas on the first journey. Pamphylia and Cilicia are two counties in Asia Minor. And if you remember the account of the first missionary journey, we have Derbe, Lystra, Iconium, where he was stoned and left for dead. You can see Tarsus, which was where Paul was born, over here. Then you got Perga or Phrygia, Perga, and so this was all. This was kind of where a lot of Paul's dear brethren from the first trip were. But they bypass that and go over to Myra, a city of Lycia. Understand that we're not dealing with motorboats. We're dealing with sailing ships and rowers. So this is not going to be a journey of a few hours. These are journeys of consuming days. I mean, even though it's just a few miles, which would probably take maybe a couple hours to get from Sidon to Salamis, I wonder what the actual distance is. But it would take just a few hours. That's probably close to the same distance Sidon is to Cyprus, for example. The same type of distance, I think, as Florida is to Cuba. I'm not 100% certain, but that's pretty close. So it's only going to take a few hours to get there, by today, but it took them a day. It took them over a day. It took a day to go from Caesarea to Sidon. If you remember in verse 3, they left in verse 2, and the next day they touched in at Sidon. So we're it's like a slow boat to China. It's slow. And it's not just the wind. You're talking wind. You're talking currents. You're talking and lack of wind. Some days. Okay, what's he got?
Strange.
Strange.
Hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Oh, I went to jump in and it muted me. I'm like, what? Anyways,
You shall be silenced.
I know it was CJ. I was gonna say, doesn't he say that the timing in general is just the wrong time to do this?
Yeah, we'll get to that. Yes, but you're right.
Yeah.
A lot of this is the wrong time to move.
The currents aren't in the right direction.
So good point.
Yeah, etc.
The wind's in the wrong direction. That's currents in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
And so they come to Myra, a city of Lycia, and there the centurion found a ship of Alexandria. Now, Alexandria, if I remember, that's another city in Greece. Actually, my apologies. That's not a city in Greece. That's a city in Egypt.
It's really interesting.
If you look, it's right here. Alexandria is where that ship was going to go. Was originally from Alexandria, but he's up at Myra.
I wonder why your mouse is doing that. It's totally off of where you are.
It's what?
totally off of where you are on your computer.
What do you mean?
It's not like you're pointing these places out, but you're on the shared screen. It's off. You see that?
You're
No.
pointing at Cyprus right now.
I'm at Cyprus.
Yeah.
The map looks smaller over there too. I don't know. Well, you tell me when I get from Maya to Myra.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm over at Snidus. All right. So here's Myra, and evidently I can't.
I was gonna say, knock your twin's camera off. That might help conserve.
Mine.
Yeah, because your twin's camera is lagging around.
Boom. Like that.
Yep.
May or may not help, but let's keep going.
So I didn't mean to derail you, Bowie. Well, that's
A little bit better.
a little bit closer.
Anyhow. No, it's not.
Let's see. Negative.
Do, do. Okay. Yeah, see, you're not way, I guess, but okay, yours.
Interesting.
Am I still way off, Hosea? Ezra?
Yeah.
You're pointing at Myra now.
Yeah.
I don't know how to change that. So anyway, we're at see, because CJ looking at it, I'm up at Snidus right now.
Something's not communicating right.
It's within eSword, I think.
Uh,
What does Sam say?
we need to remember God is in control of when and where Paul's going to be at.
Yes and no.
No.
Sam, we can't, there is. Listen, we definitely know it's God's will that that Paul goes all the way to Rome. How he gets there, let's face it. God created this world. He created this world, and that means that he set these laws in order. He's not going to supersede every law. And he's not going to throw these things in the way. It's natural. It's nature. It's the way God created this world, and that means that in moving from point A to point B, there's going to be delays. There's going to be these things. And so while, yes, God's in control, he does let the world operate like it's supposed to operate. And so it's just like, okay, when we look at the world today, people try to comfort one another by saying, okay, it was God's will to call this so-and-so home. And we look at how the person died, and he or she died in the most tragic accident. wherein a drunk driver hit him. Do you think it was really God's will that this person die by car accident?
Yeah. Are you saying God made the one guy get drunk in order to hit this fellow?
Right?
I mean,
I mean, we got to use our logic and and realize that some things happen as a result of people's choice, not because of God's will. It was not God's will that David go and commit fornication with Bathsheba, but it happened.
Right.
And
it didn't stop his plan any.
No, it didn't.
But it wasn't exactly, in his plan for it to happen. But he knew it was going to happen.
Right.
But it wasn't in the plan to happen.
So while, yes, God is ultimately in control, and he steps in when he needs to, in the case of Paul, there are things that he just simply lets go because it's that time of year and they're traveling by that mode of transportation. Things are going to happen.
Consequences.
Couple passages in Genesis come to mind here. How God set these things in motion. Genesis 8:22. After Noah gets off the ark, God makes this promise in Genesis 8:22. While the earth remains, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, winter and summer, day and night will not cease. These are God-ordered events that will not change until the earth ceases. And also, if we go back to Genesis 1, slightly biased.
That's all right.
I am totally taking you to for tomorrow. But if we go to Genesis chapter 1, when God makes the heavenly, well, I shouldn't say heavenly bodies, but the sun and the stars, what does he say? He says in verse, let's see, let me, oh, here we go. 14, God has parameters for sun and stars. Then God said, let there be lights in the firmament of heaven to divide the day from the night, and let them be for signs and seasons and for days and years. So all that to say, God set some things up already. God has put days and laws of nature that will not change until creation stops.
Sam says, I'm thinking about storm and shipwreck at the time. What storm, what shipwreck?
That's chapter 28, Sam.
We haven't got to any storm or shipwreck.
Actually, it might be at the end of...
Paul hasn't experienced that yet, Sam. It didn't happen.
We haven't experienced any storm or shipwreck yet.
Come on, Sam. Follow along.
No spoiler alerts. Have you read the story before? I don't want to know about that yet.
Like, seriously, dude. What, were you there?
Well, Sam is old enough,
Yeah, I know. I was
yeah. 6 minutes last.
So,
possible.
Well, you did yak enough.
Sorry.
So
you
then
keep
essentially
using that
found the ship from Alexandria sailing into Italy, and he put us there in. So we showed you where Alexandria was. It was from Egypt, and it's headed for Italy. And so the centurion Julius says, "Aha, we're going to go on this ship." And Paul he gets passage on this ship from Alexandria. Again, remember what I was just saying earlier, that these were not prison ships. These were regular trading ships that they just simply happened to be on, to find and take passage on. These were not military ships. These were trading ships. What do we got there? I can't read Sam's thing. It's too far away. I don't want to keep switching out. Ezra, what do we got?
Not that God's going to intervene only when needed. Only when needed, but yes, God does let nature take its course.
Okay, so they leave Myra, and they sailed slowly, many days. It took them a long time to go from Myra up to Cnidus. And I mean, they barely got over towards Cnidus, and they came over against it. It doesn't really say that they even stopped there. They just simply came over against it before they turned out to sea.
By the way, this is verse 7.
Verse 7.
I'm not doing a very good job of squishing in between them.
So neither shall Shea. He's the one that's on deck. So
The last several
they come
times I
over
tried to
against Cnidus.
CJ canceled me
CJ
out.
done done it.
I let him do it.
He's just a techie at heart. I didn't say Trekkie, I said techie. So they come over against Cnidus, and they don't even stop there. They just simply turn out to sea. So their map there is a little bit off, in that they haven't put into Cnidus, but they come over against it, and then they head out. The wind wasn't suffering them to go where they wanted to go. And so they turned out to sea, and they sail under Crete again. And they go under Crete this time. Yes.
He keeps scrolling down, and then he scrolls back. Scroll down.
Oh, he's playing Alicia. He's channeling his inner Alicia.
Yeah.
We're in verse 7.
We're in 7.
If he'd take more attention, I'm switching translations and looking at that. Because
it's hard to see on that screen.
Right. But New King James says, and arrived with difficulty off Cnidus. ASV and KJV say against, and ESV says arrived with difficulty off.
The meaning is still the same thing. They didn't ever put into Cnidus. They came within sight of it, in other words. They came over even with it.
I was double and triple checking all these because I'm like, this means the same thing. But I want to see what everyone else translates it as.
So the wind wasn't suffering them. They sail under Crete. Again, here they go under the island on the lower side of it, which means they put the island between them and the wind. And that's because otherwise they would have been driven far off course. Winds were a very dangerous thing. If they're against you, they could rip sails to shreds. They could capsize ships. They could cause such rough seas that they would drive you into rocks. And so winds were very, very perilous in those days, and still kind of perilous even today. Even though there's been great advances. So they come over against Salmone. So you see the Cape Salmone here pointed out right there. Hey, I got it, didn't I?
Yeah.
So they're coming under that, and they come over to Lycia and the Fair Havens. It always gets me when it says Fair Havens because I always remember J.R.R. Tolkien's Lord of the Rings because they come to the Fair Havens before they. Actually, it's the Grey Havens, but anyway, before they sail to the Fair Havens.
Sim says they did have a bed and breakfast on the ship.
Don't jump, CJ.
You know what I mean? No, get going from where I'm at.
You mean they didn't have a bed and breakfast on the ship?
I thought they did, Sam.
Well, they got a galley. It was a full service cruise.
By the way, I won't jump if you won't scare me, okay?
They didn't have the. They didn't have that.
Real specific, Sam.
He was correcting
Oh,
his
God.
previous comment.
God.
Your Samese needs a little work there, bud.
Sorry.
So they come over against Salmone, and then they come up to the Fair Havens, which is near the city of Lycia. So it's interesting. They have Lycia. I gotta see that again. I think I'm right on it.
Yeah.
Lycia right there, and then right up the coast from there is Fair Havens. And they never put into Lycia. They just simply go to the Fair Havens, which is near Lycia.
Which they have them putting in Lycia.
Mm-hmm. Just because it's mentioned within the text. Whoever drew this map didn't pay attention to the text.
Yeah.
However,
I mean, it gets.
yes. But what was that?
I said it gives a close enough idea, I suppose. Rather than putting a random dot out of the middle of no man's land, like, what are they doing right there? Well, you put it over there near. Well, what are we talking about?
Lycia and the Fair Havens?
Snidus. Yeah. Anyways, they came near it, but didn't land at it. It's easier to put the dot on it than just out in the middle of no man's land, and people be like, "Where did they go?" You know.
Well, Levi's looking at that. I will say this. Chapters like these, to me, give the Bible a lot of credibility because we have locations, we have what the current was like, what the condition was like. They went into this port, but they came close to this port. If this is a storybook, like a child story, we would have basically a summary statement, and Paul and his companions traveled down the road or in a ship. But notice the meticulous detail that is in chapter 27, not just on the route, but we're going to see some ship terminology in different parts of the ship and how they let the anchor down, and so it's very specific, and that's what it means.
I've always quite liked the timestamps
Yeah.
and all the conditions you listed. As I recall, a group of scholars were actually able to relocate and prove during that time of the year all that course would have in fact been very difficult to travel. And they were able to produce such maps like this, which may be off in a few places, but you know, it took this long to get there, and they can confirm that with the technology and during the time of the year and etc.
Well, I think what we've getting in chapter 27, really at the heart of what Luke's about. He's a historian. We're
The
getting
specifics of
in
Luke.
what?
I said the specificness of Luke.
Yeah. We're getting a meticulous historical documentation of the script. And I think that's cool.
Well,
And then,
it wasn't just that Luke was a historian, and it really wasn't that he was. It was he's a doctor. He's got a mind that is extremely ordered
yeah,
and with a very great attention to detail.
yeah.
If he had lived in today's society, he would, as in if he had been a doctor in today's society, it would be a tremendous mind.
Yeah.
We could easily call him one of the great minds because we see his
Yeah.
work, how labeled he is. We arrived here at this time. They got here at this time. They did this, and it took them this long. And he gives all the details, and most often how long it took, or a generalized statement on, the amount of time that went by.
If you were going to fabricate a story, you would not put this much effort into it.
Exactly.
Would you and I mean, you have to work really hard. Maybe you would, but
Well, it also goes back to the time. If you were fabricating a story, you would just pull numbers of time out of your head and plop them in there, per se.
yeah,
It can be proven that it took this long to get there under these circumstances. So,
I think sometimes we gloss over this chapter thinking we kind of sum it up. Paul traveled to Rome, chapters 27, and maybe we spend a little bit of time talking about the kindness at Malta, 28, but we kind of say Paul journeyed in 27 and he gets to Malta in 28. But Luke thinks it's important for his readers to slow down and look at the places where he went. And it really shows you the authenticity of his writing, I think.
Very much so, the authenticity, the attention to detail lends itself to the fact that God is inspiring this record.
Yes.
It's not just the fact that Luke is got the mind of a doctor or a scientist, the mind of a historian. It is that God is still authoring this account, and the fact that God is authoring that account really does present for us stuff that we need to know. How was it that Paul got to Rome? Why is this important? There are certain events that happen along the way that, well, it's necessary for us to see. Let's take a look at John chapter 20, verses 30 and 31. Okay. John 30 and 31. As we wrap this up, And truly, Jesus did many other signs in the presence of his disciples, which are not written in this book. But these are written, that you may believe that Jesus is the Christ, the Son of God, and that believing you may have life in his name. Now, there were a multitude of signs that Jesus did, which proved beyond a shadow of a doubt to anyone who was there watching and listening that Jesus was the Christ, the Son of God. And when Jesus gave the Great Commission in Mark chapter 16, verses 15 and 16, what did he tell his apostles? What did he tell his disciples?
Go out and preach the gospel to your believers and baptized and be saved.
I should have included the next verse. Mark 16, Bible person, verses 15 through, 18. Let's go through 18. Go ahead, O'Shea.
Into all the world and preach the gospel to every creature. He who believes and is baptized will be saved, but he who does not believe will be condemned. And these signs will follow those who believe. In my name they will cast out demons. They will speak with new tongues. They will take up serpents. And if they drink anything deadly, it will by no means hurt them. They will lay hands on the sick and they will recover.
All right. So what Jesus said is that there was going to be signs, wonders, miracles that were going to follow those who preached the word of God, the message that Jesus was sending them out to preach. And it was going to do what?
Confirm the word.
It was going to confirm.
In verse 20, I think.
Scroll down, scroll down to verse 20. Thank you. And go ahead and hit that one. Okay.
And they went out and preached everywhere, the Lord working with them, and confirming the word through the accompanying signs. Amen.
So what we see then is these signs went forth and they confirmed the word because God was working, or Jesus was working with them.
They went viral.
And the Hebrews, it went viral. Yeah, it went viral.
It went viral.
And Hebrews chapter 1 or 2, verses 1 through 4 tells us that is exactly the purpose of the miracles. It was to confirm the word. And God did that with the signs, wonders, and diverse miracles. Man did not confirm the word with miracles. God did. Man may have been the tool by which the miracles were done, as in, Peter, for example, Peter and James healed the lame beggar. Right. But it was God who did the healing. Now, what we have then is Acts. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, they had borrowed authority and power. It didn't belong to them.
They did it on the best authority.
Right. Best of wishes.
Right.
So what then we have is we have Jesus saying this is what's going to happen. Mark recording that God did this. Jesus did this with them. We have Hebrews saying this is what happened. God confirmed the word. Now, then we have John saying that these things were written so that people afterward didn't have to have someone doing miracles to confirm the word. Why?
As it was written down.
It was already confirmed, wasn't it?
Right.
And it was recorded as being confirmed. So why does it need to be confirmed any longer?
Nothing like, repeating yourself.
Right. So with God having confirmed it and wrote it down, what we see in Acts chapter 27, and essentially all of Acts, is the way that the gospel spread and was confirmed. In other words, the fulfillment of what Jesus said was going to happen in Mark chapter 16, verses 15 through 20.
Yeah.
We see it all happening.
So
We
the
get a play-by-play.
gospel being preached, the word is quite literally being confirmed as it's being written down.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have Peter saying that by Peter's time we have the prophet. He says, look, we have the Old Testament prophets confirmed now. So if the Old Testament prophets were being confirmed now by the apostles, and we're 2,000 years removed from that, really it's still confirmed all the way.
Still confirmed today.
Right.
The thing of it is, Sam, is what you implied with your words is that the reason that it was taking so long is because God was throwing all this up. In essence, they were going to get it. In essence, the implication was that they were going against God's will. They were going against God's will. It was God, or that it was God's will that they were taking so long.
Right.
And in reality, it just simply was the laws of nature that were in effect.
Right.
God's providence is one thing, and that is where God takes care of us through as we go through things. That's different than it being God's will that something occurs.
Right.
And it's so we need to be able to discern the difference as we read through the scripture, and even as we go through our life, we have to discern the difference between the two. Otherwise, we're going to be running around like chickens with our heads cut off, saying that everything that is happening to us is God's will. It's why one of the reasons that I have a pet peeve anytime I see that blasted meme, if God brings you to it, he'll bring you through it. Excuse me. Some of the stuff, most of the stuff that I go through is my own stupidity. God didn't bring me to it. I was the dumb one that ran into it. And so I was the dumb one and the one that ran into it, and therefore yes, God will bring me through it. I have to have that faith and I have to surrender myself to him, but he didn't bring me to it.
Well, you have addicts that say, God brought me through my hurt, through my heroin addiction.
Well,
what does that say about God?
Well, and that's the case. There's some if we're not careful, we're going to attribute our addictions to God, and we're going to attribute our evilness, our wickedness to God, and that's absolutely wrong. So, that's why I say we have to be able to discern the difference. Just because something happens does not mean it is God's will that it happens.
But he'll work with it anyways.
Go ahead. But he will work with what we bring upon ourselves. That's right.
Right.
And he will provide for us each and every day.
We're not going to delay or inconvenience him.
That's a good study, though, Sam. And I think we ought to take time to look. Perhaps I'll do that as an off the cuff or another EE. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow night for EE because CJ won't be there. At least not joining me in stream. He might be listening, but he'll probably be zonked in his own bed at home, trying to recuperate after such a long trip and blast of a weekend.
I probably will be. Just
You're going to be getting home about 9 o'clock,
like 9:30.
9:30.
So, yeah.
That'll be, yeah, so about 8:30. So you won't be, you'll just be getting home.
Yeah.
'Cause that's your time, 9:35 your time.
Yeah.
So, but anyhow, that one might be as we, so I might do that, or I might go ahead and get the episode I've been meaning to do on Sons of God versus, Sons of God.
That'd be
That's a good study. Too.
It is a good study and one that needs to be done because there's so much misinformation out there. Anyhow, I hope and pray that you guys have been, actually, we hope and pray that you guys have been uplifted and edified by our time tonight. I think I'll leave that up there because I can, unless O'Shea, never mind, I know that O'Shea can handle that. Yeah, I think you're the one that's supposed to start us off.
Thank you all for joining us as we work together. This has been fun, Levi, hasn't it?
It's been a blast.
Thank
As I said,
you.
we need to do this at least yearly.
Yeah, looking forward to it. And thank you all for being here. And remember, here at CEM, we want to do three things. We want to first and foremost glorify God. Secondly, we want to elevate you, His Son. And we want to answer any spiritual questions. Thank you all for being here. And we hope to see you next time. God bless you.
That way, whether we wake to serve God tomorrow here on this earth, or we wake to serve God tomorrow up there where we all want to be, where we'll have the honor and pleasure, privilege of being, or we'll see you then. God bless.
Thank you all for being here. Till we meet again, God bless you all. Love ya.